Okay, so this is a follow-up video to the first one where I used steel stick to reinforce what are called bread and butter lugs on a vintage Rogers kit. These lugs are notorious for cracking, and the ones I did are for a bass drum, which were a little bit larger than the standard tom lugs. Fortunately, Rogers recently put out a reproduction die-cast version of those lugs that would fit toms that do not crack. Here is what they look like in the package. The thing about those is that these were basically designed to be used for snare drums that have double-sided tension on the same lug. For example, you can see that this is it out of the package. You can see it's got two different sides for tension rods to go through, and that's typically used for snare drums where they have one tension rod for both heads. Okay, so in using it for toms, you have to take out one of the lugs, which is fine, but then you'll end up having a hole there, and you could just deal with that. Or you could try to tap that hole, so therefore, nothing could fall in there, maybe rattle around. So basically, I've done a few of these. You can see what they look like. It's got the one hole there for the tension rod, and then all I did was cap the second hole using some rivets that I purchased on Amazon. I tried a few different kinds to see which ones fit the best. I will show you a package of the ones that I ultimately decided to go with. But again, anything that would fit would be good. What I'm going to do is use the same steel stick again, and I'm going to use them to fasten them in there, because one thing you don't want to do is put them in a way where if they're not really nailed down, if they start to rattle, that's going to be horrible. So I'm hoping the steel stick does hold up for that purpose. One thing I'll tell you that these new lugs, the holes on toms are made for this size hole. However, in the bottom, or I should say the hole that's furthest from the lug, there is a grommet, I think that's called a grommet, that's in the hole that's really hard to see, and it's really small, and I don't know if you can see that, if I can get it to focus, but anyways, it basically makes the hole a little bit smaller, so when you first try it, it won't fit. In order to punch these things out, you have to use a hole punch similar to this, and delicately punch it from the outside going in, and it will fall out. Okay, once you've removed that, then you will have two holes that are the same size, and these new lugs will fit directly on there. Okay, so basically what I do is take this. Okay, so you take this lug, there's a little rubber washer that holds the tension rod receptacle in place. I pull one of those out because we are only going to need one. Then I take one of these rivets, okay, and get on the steel stick again. And what I do is take a little piece, rub it until it becomes dark again. Again, this, if you didn't see the first video, steel stick is by JB Weld, sorry. And it's a putty that has the two-color solution here, a light gray on the outside, dark gray on the inside, and when you rub them together, it forms a, it releases something that activates the hardening solution in the putty, and it turns it into what basically amounts to metal. And so this should hold, And as soon as this thing turns dark, which it has, what I do is I put a little bit around the rivet. Hopefully that's zooming in. And then what I do is I push it through the top. Okay, there's a bunch of excess around it, which I'll clean off in a minute. Then I take the balance and shove it through there, and so it meets up with the rivet, and between this and the piece I put around the rivet, once this thing hardens, it is going nowhere. I've already done a few of these things, so I know that it holds really, really firm. So other than that, once I have it in there, I clean off the excess. There you have it. So you have, here's the original one, so they look identical, right, on the front. And then the back, the new one has reinforcements at the top and bottom so it won't crack. It also doesn't have a spring, by the way. Versus the original one, you can see had that same spring down the middle with the tab that would crack along the top as you would tension and pull these tabs up and down on the drum with a tension. It would crack. So that is pretty much it. So it's as simple as that. All the toms will have these. The bass drums have the steel stick reinforcement, and that should hold up. So thanks for watching.